booties for black girl nerds.
Oh, we back. You guys, we're back. What's going on? Listen, I finally made it to the movie theaters. You guys, I finally made it. We're checking out The Blackening. We're talking about it today. It's going to be a cool review today. As you see, I got some very talented, creative women joining me today. Jamie is back, you guys. If they had for the end of it, Jamie was at it, y'all. This is why we tell y'all to follow us. Or, well, not Twitter. Well, Twitter kind of right now, but we're actually on Spill. So we'll keep you posted on that and tell you a little bit more about that. Instagram, of course, YouTube, like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe notification right now. Hit that bell so you know. But yeah, Jamie has been out putting in the work. Jamie, how you feeling? How's it going?
Going good. First of all, Ryan, thank you for holding these down, these movie reviews, because I don't get to see all of the movies, which is kind of weird because I run a pop culture publication where we talk about movies, and
Yeah.
I'm the one that doesn't see them. But there's a lot of reasons for that, busyness, and then also some of these movies are in select theaters, and
Right.
I don't go to the press screenings, and sometimes I just don't want to pay to go to a movie theater. When I have press access, I'm just
Yeah.
keeping it 100. But
Mm-hmm.
also, I just appreciate you doing this, and for all of the fans that really want to talk about their favorite movies and shows, to be able to engage in this way with the live streams. So thank you for creating this space for us to be able to do that. And yeah, it's great to actually get on one of these with you guys, because this is a movie that I've actually saw in the theater. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about The Blackening.
Well, you're welcome. And you guys, Jamie has been grinding. So please go and subscribe and watch and check out. Y'all, she got a selfie with Idris Elba. That's all I'm going to say. Like, go look
I
at it
saw that.
and check it out.
I was like, my heart beats still.
I know, right? Me
And
too.
he's such a fan of Black Girl Nerds. Every time whether it's myself or Giandra, who does a lot of our on-camera interviews for Black Girl Nerds, he always gives us a shout out at the end of his interviews with us, saying Black Girl Nerds, which was great. And I felt bad because my very first interview with Idris was in 2016 at Comic-Con when he did the Star Trek
Wow,
film.
yeah.
And that was like my first really big interview with him. So when I interviewed him for Hijack, he hadn't seen me since then, because Giandra's been doing most of his interviews. She's interviewed him for The Harder They Fall and for Suicide Squad. And he said to me, "How come you haven't come out for all of my movies?" I felt so bad. The fact that he remembered me, I thought was really cool. But that's just a testament to the kind of guy he is. He's just very humble, very sweet, and yeah, takes the time to take a picture. I mean, he was the man of the hour, so like everybody wanted to talk to him. Everybody wanted their selfies with him, but he just has always been a fan of this publication, and he likes the work that we do. So he made time for us, and that was appreciated.
That's what's up.
You know what? I also got a shout out right quick, because Jamie's not the only one joining us. You guys see this beautiful, lovely new face we got up here in the corner right here. That, you know what? Listen, you guys, she let me bug her on Twitter because I love the commentary, the streaming that she does, rooting for Black women in gaming and just gaming, period. She's always keeping it hustling. She's always booked. I'm talking about Des. Des, enough of me talking. Give us a little intro. Tell us about what you got going on, because you always book. Like I said, go ahead and tell us what you got going on.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been a big fan of Black Girl Nerds for a long time. So when you hit me up, it was automatic. Yes, please let me be on the show. What can I do? But you know what? I'm doing a lot of things. So Jamie, I totally understand when it comes to hustling, you can't see all the movies. I mean, because we're on our grind and we're trying to build empires. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it takes a lot of time and energy and dedication to make that happen. But yeah, I work with Mix and Justin and Black Voices in Gaming. I host that. We just had I'm the creator of Games for Games, which is a showcase highlighting, how do I say this? Highlighting passionate women and women who are creating the change they want to see in the industry and in the community. So we had our first showcase June 13th, which was incredible. I mean, like, to to imagine wanting to do something and then having it actually like happen, you know. And so we're just gonna keep going and make it bigger and better. I'm also one of the marketing managers at Freedom Games. I'm very passionate about indie gaming. I love my AAAs too, but indie gaming right now I feel like is where it's at when it comes to being creative and like having different ideas and like being unafraid to push different agendas when it comes to video games. So yeah, I'm kind of all over. I'm doing a lot. But it needs to be done. And I'm just happy to be in the ranks with y'all, like just making it happen, being a Black woman and succeeding in a industry that usually doesn't want to hear anything from us. So yeah.
We should collab like on a gaming stream sometime.
Absolutely, I'm down.
Yeah, we should totally do that because I'm a noob when it comes to gaming. Like I did gaming like back in the day, back in the early days before all of this streaming was a thing, but I'm trying to get back into it. And I've been I did some gaming this weekend, some streaming this weekend.
Nice.
But yeah, we should totally collab because I just think gaming is fun, and I really want us to, for us with Black Girl Nerds, I definitely want like all of our gamer fans to kind of see kind of the content that we can provide there. And also I want to see more of what you do in the gaming space.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, tell me when you guys want to game. We'll pick something out. I'm down. Especially gaming with other Black girls. Like that's just I'm excited to do that. Yeah.
I'm gonna get my butt whooped, but sure, why not?
Listen, I suck. So I streamed Street Fighter 6 and I got my ass kicked.
It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. You know what? I think what a lot of people like should realize is that it depends on what type of gamer you are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like fighting games might not be your thing. FPS might not be your thing. So we'll figure out. I mean, we can have a couple of sessions to just figure out which kind of games we're good at. And I mean, even if we suck, we're gonna have fun at it. So it doesn't matter.
Exactly. It's about having fun.
Yes.
Exactly. Do you play League of Legends at all, by the way?
So when I lived in South Korea, I was taken to one of those cafes by a couple of friends, and I did try out League of Legends. League of Legends is not my game. I will say, I will say that. I am absolutely... I don't like top-down games. Like I want to be in there. Like I want to see my character doing stuff. So like seeing
like
it
more
from
of an Overwatch.
Yeah, but I don't like Overwatch either. So
okay.
Yeah,
well,
I'm more. Let me just explain what type of games I play because
go into it. We're ready. Go ahead, get into it.
I know this is a sidebar from the Blackening.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're gonna get to the Blackening, which makes sense because they're playing a game in the Blackening. Yeah. So again, we're tying it together. But the type of games I like to play, I would say, are MMOs because I do like playing with like friends and stuff. I find it more fun. Yeah. So I've been playing Old Republic, the Star Wars MMO. I've been playing Guild Wars, which they just came out with a new expansion. It blows my mind because that game is quite old, but it still looks great. I just finished Grounded, which was a 4-player online co-op. If you haven't heard of Grounded, it's really cute. I mean, like it's cute. The idea is cute. Think of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and they turned it into a game.
Really?
So nice. Yeah, that was Grounded. And then I just finished Divinity Original Sin 2, which was incredible. The narrative design, it's so dope. And you can romance your characters, and I love me a little bit of romance. So playing those type of games too. But I definitely like survival type, open box type games where we got to gather stuff and like try to make it through the winter or whatever catastrophe is going to hit us next. So Don't Starve Together is a great one. Stardew Valley, when it went multiplayer, is a good one. Yeah, I like playing with other people. There are some games that I like playing by myself. So God of War was incredible, but just because the story is incredible, like the narrative design is incredible. And The Witcher is really, really good. Like I
didn't know that was a game. So it's,
I heard it was a good game.
So it was a game before it was a book first, and then it was then they turned it into a video game. It's actually quite old. There's 3 games, so that if you want to get into it and you like got it, if you know about The Witcher because you watched the television series, just jump into 3. I would say. 3 has 2 DLCs, Blood and Wine, and I always forget the other one. But incredible games. If you don't want to like spend time playing them, then watch. There's tons of people who've played them online. But that's how I got into it. Like I played the first Witcher like forever ago when it came out, and I was like, it's okay. But then watched the show, and I could not stand Yennefer, and that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother podcast. So I was like, is she like this in the game too?
Yeah.
Because you don't see her much. I don't think you even see her in the first game, and I didn't finish the first game, so I wasn't sure. So I went and played like the third one, and I still don't like her. So I'm Team Trish all the way. But that's the reason why I got back into it. But yeah, so I dabble in a lot of things, but FPS is not me. My reflexes are not fast enough. But my guy friends want me to play because they just think it's hilarious. And they're like, Jessica, you got to come out of hiding. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm stay in these bushes.
Okay.
I like it.
All of those games that you mentioned, I have not heard of, but I will add that to my list of games.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun. I cannot wait for us to play. I'm gonna introduce y'all to Valheim and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Oh man,
Wean me off of League of Legends, because right now I've been playing that like crazy, and it's been like crack for me. And I'm like, okay.
But do you enjoy it though?
I enjoy it. I just spend so many hours on it, and I'm like, Jamie,
that's okay. I just started this thing. You know what?
That is work. You got to get to the end.
You're a nerd. It's a part of it.
Leveling up and like
it's a grindy game.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a grindy game.
Yeah, and then people actually compete for it in like real actual esports.
Oh yeah. It was huge in South Korea. They did like a whole thing. Like I remember the street signs were up in Busan.
About it too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's massive.
Anyway. The Blackening. Sorry.
Listen, I hope y'all took notes on all this gaming, because see, look, I didn't even tease that. Look what y'all just got. Tuning in. See, that's why you gotta subscribe. You just got all your gaming facts right there. All right, so here's my question though: is anybody wanting to play the Blackening as a game? Because I'm like, this is one of those games that I was like, I might not make it off the first space. So ladies, let's talk about like, okay, you watched the movie, you came out of the theaters or wherever you were watching it. How did you feel? Des, I'll start with you. What was your initial reaction?
I thought it was fun. Like if we're talking about overall, I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I thought the plot was a little weak, because I figured out who the killer was like 10 minutes in. Like I just knew who it was, and then watched it to the end. I'm really bad with that though. I went to school for 2D animation and stuff like that, and so you have to take a lot of classes where they like look at telltale signs, and now my brain just automatically is looking for that stuff. So people hate going to movies with me, because I won't say it to them, but I'll whisper it. Like, you know, when you'll be like thinking out loud and be like, that's him. I knew that was me. Like, that's how I do. So, I knew it was this specific person. I don't want to give spoilers. I knew it was a specific person, like going in 10 minutes in. And I wish I really enjoy movies where I can't figure out stuff like that. But to be fair, The Blackening's not that type of movie. It's a comedy, so it's leaning into the comedic stuff. And I thought there was a lot of funny things happening in it. But I also felt like they could have done a little better with the story. Like I felt like the story was a little weak. But that's just...
Well, let me say this real quick, just so we can do. So, guys, we are gonna do spoilers.
Okay.
So just pause us and come back. I meant to say that I saw you trying to like tiptoe around it to get out and say it. I was like, let me just do that first.
Okay.
So, you guys haven't seen The Blackening, if you're still coming up on it, because this came around like Juneteenth, that week it came out. So, it gave people a little bit of time to go catch it up. So we're gonna do some spoilers. So pause us, come back, and watch it.
Okay, I feel better now. I was trying to
go around it. Yeah, so you can tell us what you really thought. So you guys know we do the spoilers in here. So come back and watch us if you need to.
Okay, so I'll tell you how I figured it out. When they're in the gas station and she's grabbing all those snacks and everything, and she sees like the white guy behind the counter, and he's like kind of like, oh, we lost Jamie.
Oh, did Jamie we'll let her pop back in. Go ahead.
Okay.
Nope, there you go. Okay.
She and the guy's looking at her really weird, and then like you see Clifton, and he has no reaction to Clifton. I immediately picked up on that and thought that was very strange, because it's like, why are you having a reaction to her and she's Black, but you're not having a reaction to Clifton? I thought that was really weird. And then I was like, I need to watch out for him, because that's strange. Like, that's giving me weird energy. And then when they were playing spades and they didn't let him play, I was like, he's going to be the killer. Like, I just knew he was going to be the killer from that, because they had excluded him. And like, I was like, and they excluded him in such a disrespectful way.
Yeah.
And I was like, his character isn't funny enough to be the comedic relief throughout the whole entire movie. I was like, I bet you he's going to be killed. And then what really solidified it for me is when they kicked him out, and because at one point they're like, the blackest person has to die. And so they kicked Clifton out, and I was like, watch they show him go outside. And like, first of all, you couldn't tell me to go outside willingly and die. Like, I don't know what Black person you could tell to go outside willingly and die. There would be hands. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He left too calm. He was too calm. He was like, well, I can't believe you guys picked me. You know, shame on you. And then walked out. And I was like, nah, that's weird. He's too like, and then they showed him dying. And I was like, that's fake. He didn't die. And then they confirmed it. Then they confirmed it all at the end. And I was like, I knew it was him.
Yeah.
Like, but his story, the whole reason was weak. Listen, one of the things I was hoping would happen, because I felt like they set it up for it and then they just didn't do it. Do you know when, what is his name? The guy who was from, his dad was South African, like Sudanese. What was his character's name? Kaneem?
Single Walls character? Nandi?
Yeah.
Nandi, thank you.
Nandi,
I don't know what names were coming out of my mouth, but it was nothing close to Nandi. When Nandi picks up the gun and he's shooting from the side and then Clifton corrects it for him, I was like, oh my God, I really wanted his character at the end to come across so smooth. I wanted his personality to change up and for them to be like, oh, whoa, what? But he was like still nerdy and angry the whole time. But I was like, you set it up for him to come across so kind of hood. You know what I'm saying? After he tells the story about him being in jail and everything, I was so ready for his persona to just kind of flip. And I was really sad that it didn't, that he was still super lame till the very end.
Jamie, what did you think? And then I'm gonna really break down the characters because I got some fun pictures I'm gonna show here. So, Jamie, what you got for your initial reaction?
Well, I did not see the killer coming. I was actually pretty surprised by the killer. I wasn't expecting it to be one of the friends in the friend group, so that was a bit of a surprise. Jermaine Fowler, by the way, was amazing as Clifton in this.
Yeah, role. He was.
Like his voice and his demeanor, like he really transformed himself into this character and this role. So, I mean, you know, this isn't exactly Oscar material, but still, like, he did a pretty extraordinary performance, and just kudos to him for this character. He was really, really funny. I don't know. I actually thought the writing, you know, it wasn't like, it's not on the levels of some like top tier horror films. Like, it's not going to be like a Hereditary or Midsummer or some of those like horror films. But I will say I did like the writing to the point where I just did not expect the twist that I saw coming. And I thought that the performances were actually pretty spectacular. I saw this in an all-Black theater, which was amazing.
Nice.
Because I saw this during the American Black Film Festival, and so yeah, that was a great experience. And like, there's that one scene. Oh yeah, when they were talking about the theme song to the auto parts store.
Oh, yeah. That was a great moment.
And then everybody busted out singing it.
People were singing that in the theater. And
yep.
I love this. So yeah, I thought it was great. What I love about The Blackening is, you know, like, I think people were coming in with the expectation. I'm not speaking of you, Destiny. I'm talking about.
Oh, it's okay.
People that I had conversations with. My computer keeps blackening out on me. what the conversations I was having on like Facebook specifically was people were expecting this to be like the next Get Out, and it's not
Oh,
really
really?
that. Yeah, they were expecting, because I feel like Get Out was sort of like this this film that really broke the mold in black horror.
Yeah.
And truth be told, and Ryan, we had this conversation on the podcast that we did with Dads from the Crypt. I mean, Tales from the Hood really was kind of like the the pioneer of like really great black horror cinema. But like Get
Absolutely. Yeah.
Out kind of, set a new bar for like high quality black horror films. So I think when people think of black horror now, they're kind of expecting that level. And for some reason, people were expecting it to be that, like some sort of commentary on, uh, you know, black social injustice issues, what's going on with, microaggressions, like that type of conversation. They were thinking that that's what was going to come out of the Blackening, which I can
Oh,
kind of understand, but
yeah.
it really does lean into comedy. It's a horror comedy. It's kind of like what we talked about before we started recording, kind of like Scary Movie in
Yes.
that way. But it's not even necessarily a satire, because Scary Movie was like a satire about other films, notably
Mm-hmm.
like Scream and that franchise. The Blackening is just pure comedy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
when you think about like old films, horror films, I'm thinking of black horror films from back in the day, like even Blackula had elements of comedy in it. So I appreciated that, and I had that expectation going in. So I loved the campiness of it all, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that. And yeah, the Blackening was it was just funny. It wasn't scary for me. There's actually not a lot of horror movies that really scare me. There's like a couple of them, the ones that involve dolls, but yeah, it didn't scare me. But I wasn't coming in with that expectation. I was just coming in with the expectation that I was going to have a lot of fun, seeing a great black cast. I'm a fan of Tracy Oliver's work, and yeah, overall, I just really enjoyed the film. It was fantastic, and it's a film that I could watch repeatedly and probably still like
Mm-hmm.
have that
Yeah.
same feeling over and over again. So yeah.
I
So
think I
I'm
was
just gonna go ahead, Des.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was
Go
just gonna
ahead. No,
say,
go
I
ahead.
think I was hoping it would be like Vampire in Brooklyn. Do you remember that movie with Eddie
Mm,
Murphy?
Yeah, I
Because
like.
there were
Yeah.
that's a
elements
good
Yeah.
of it
movie.
being scary, but
Mm-hmm.
also very comedic elements.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
what I was thinking, just based off of the previews. But I also feel bad because I feel like the trailer showed like a lot of the really funny parts in the movie, so there wasn't a lot in the movie that I was like super surprised about that was happening. But yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it was going to lean more towards that. I definitely thought there were going to be some jump scares, and I don't like horror movies, which is really weird that I'm saying. I was a little sad that there wasn't a little
Scary
more
enough.
of the yeah, it wasn't a little more scary. But I literally thought, like, as I was watching it, and this is what I thought was funny, because you know how black people are. When anything weird happens, we're ready to like step out or like check out. And it was so funny to me because like none of them were ever really ready to check out of the situation. Like they were always like, well, let's just keep going. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have just
Yeah. Quick side note about Vampire in Brooklyn. Fun fact: Eddie Murphy, he actually wanted to play that straight. Like he never wanted Vampire in Brooklyn to be a comedy,
Oh.
oh
but
Wow.
Wes Craven and I guess the producers behind it
Mm.
cast Eddie Murphy because that's what they wanted. They wanted a comedian. They wanted to lean into the comedy more. And it's kind of sad because, Eddie wanted to really make this a serious black
Yeah.
horror film. And
Mm-hmm.
they were like, nah, that's not going to sell tickets.
Oh
Nah, that's not what we
man.
want. But yeah, it would have been nice to have seen like an actual straight
that's
dramatic
wild.
horror,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
performance
Yeah.
coming out of
But
Eddie
that
because he's a great dramatic actor.
yeah,
Yeah.
that explains a lot though, because he was not necessarily funny in the movie. Like I always like when I saw it, because it came out a long time ago, I
Yeah.
always thought he was actually scary, and everyone around him except for Angela Bassett. Like him and Angela Bassett were, it was almost like they were in a movie of their own, and then they had comedic elements around them. Like he was scary in that movie. Like when he killed that girl, and I was like, oh, I didn't expect Eddie to do that. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Let's see some comments here. Oracle 684. Hey ladies, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Are you guys going to see Blue Beetle next month or the Meg 2? I'm trying. You know, we'll see them eventually. We're getting there. You know what I mean?
Like Warner Brothers will hook a sister up. Yeah.
Hook a sister up, Warner Brothers. Let us know. We'll go see it. But yeah, everything is out these days. But yeah, we'll try. But thank you for joining us. Happy Sunday to you as well.
No,
listen, the pockets are gonna be hurting. Like the box office is no joke right now.
It is the era of the nerd. I don't care what anybody says. Like everything's coming out for us.
Everything does cost a lot, right? Between paying for streaming services and going to the theaters, you know, it's a lot. It adds up. So
and if you don't bring your snacks, you in trouble there.
Yeah,
you got to bring your snacks.
I
bought a bottle of water because I forgot, and it was $4. You got to bring your
snacks. That stuff is ridiculous.
Your snacks. Inflation is no joke. Like
that stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to give I always like to do this after I watch a movie, like especially when I have a good time. But I like to go and find like the different characters and make sure I know everybody's names, and just so everybody's familiar with it, because we're already mentioning a lot of them anyway. So here's Allison, played by Grace Byers, which I love her, by the way, you guys. What did I say? What did I say? Byers? Oh, Byers. Yes. Yeah. Byers. Grace Byers.
I think it's Byers. Byers. I think you said Byers.
Oh, is it Byers?
Yeah.
Okay. Grace Byers. Let me make sure I get it right. Yeah, I love her, you guys. She's doing a great job. She was in Empire, Harlem. Those are two, like, you guys, if you need something to binge, like sit down with your girlfriends, check it out. Like, I did not expect her to have this comedic bone that she's had, but she is killing it right now. And everything that I've seen her in so far. So loved her in this role.
She's funny in Harlem. She's pretty funny in Harlem. I like her character in that.
And then here we go. This is Dwayne Perkins. He actually kept his first real name in this show, in this movie. So, and I like this because these are like the cards that they played in Blackening, like the questions they asked. This one, they didn't ask this one though, how many kids.
I was like, this one.
I thought it was funny. Yeah, I thought it was funny they had these going around on Google.
And so I was there so this was screened at the American Black Film Festival, and after they have the screening, they'd have like a Q&A afterwards. So Dwayne Perkins, he came up with the idea for the Blackening. And he pitched that idea I think it was something that he had created, like a short or something on social media. And if you guys are watching, and feel free to correct me, because it's been a while since even though American Black Film Festival happened 2 weeks ago, my mind is not as sharp as it used to be. So I might have forgotten the details, but I don't know if it was a short film or something that he had created that like went viral on social media, and Tracy Oliver got wind of it and was like, we should make this into a movie. And that's how the Blackening was created. So, you know, short story is this whole concept is from the mind of Dwayne Perkins.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's cool. I was trying to do a Google search real quick to find and see if I saw anything pop up about what he was in. But yeah, he absolutely killed it in this. And the whole, like, he was too scared and was going to puke on everything was, I was like, oh my gosh. So I love that was his whole thing, to be able to take out the villain. So yeah, he was definitely a good time. What else we got here? This was King in the Melvin Gregg. What it's like, Snowfall, Non-Perfect Strangers. So yeah, he killed it in this one. He had everybody kept smacking him. I felt bad for him. Once that arrow hit, and
oh my god, and it like
they were not
in the same spot. Yes.
Yeah, so it was brutal. It was brutal to see him go through that. We got Lisa here, Antoinette Robertson. Dear White People, Tyler Perry's The Haves and Have-Nots. She killed it in this. She put down the bad guy. She wasn't playing.
Oh, Robertson. I'm sorry, I corrected you.
It was Robertson. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is Namid, right? This his name was Namid in this one, right?
Namdi. Right?
Namdi.
Namdi.
There we go. So, but they didn't ask any of these questions, but I just thought it was funny to have this on Google. They didn't ask any of this.
And mac and cheese is a side dish.
You think it is a side dish? It's not
it's
the main.
A side dish.
It's got to be a side dish.
Definitely.
Okay.
It's a side dish.
You like definitely got to go with that one. I don't know what group Cisco was in. Do we know?
Drew Hill.
There we go.
Really? Yeah, Drew Hill.
Oh, she's so young though. You got to remember.
Oh, okay. He was in Drew Hill.
See, I'm telling you, I would have stayed on the second spot on the game board. I'm trying to tell you, I would have stayed on the second spot on the game board. It would have been bad.
She was funny too, though. I really liked her character.
She was hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So you guys tell me what the name. I think I'm saying it right. Is it X Mayo? Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Okay. She was in Swarm, The Good Doctor. She was a writer on The Daily Show. So yeah, they had a bunch of like comedians throwing it down in this one. There's the girl Yvonne Orgy. Ooh, y'all, the beginning of this, I was like, now they ain't supposed to.
Oh, they did ask this question, and I immediately like LL Cool J.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so you would have been okay. I thought
Yvonne Orji was the Drew Barrymore of this movie, by the way.
She was. She absolutely was. And they made fun of that at the beginning. They were like, yeah, they couldn't, what did they say? They were naming something, and they were like, they couldn't afford to keep them through the rest of the movie. And they both kind of looked at each other, and I was like, I see what y'all did there.
Let's see. Who else am I missing? Oh, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, he really got that one cool. That one cool how they did.
That's a hard one. I don't know all the Madea movies. I think
I don't either.
I saw
Madea
like 2.
Goes to Jail, Medea's.
Yeah,
I think you could literally name Madea doing anything, and you might.
Yeah, it'll be right. Yep.
You might be fine. Yeah, Madea goes to the grocery store. Yeah, girl, so that was a special.
Yeah.
It's on
Medea's
Netflix.
Funeral. Yeah, girl, I got that one. That was a good one right there. Yeah, I thought those was cute. I just thought that was fun. Some of the questions that they asked on there. Something different than what they asked. But yeah, those questions had me going. Like everybody in the theater I was in too was trying to answer them. Like it was like name 5 black people that were in Friends.
I would have got that question. We would have survived it because I did not know that there were any black people who showed up on Friends.
I knew Aisha Tyler. That was the only one I knew.
Yeah, I forgot about Aisha Tyler.
I didn't know none of them. So I didn't watch Friends like that.
Hey, friend of the show. What's up?
Yeah, what's up? But yeah, I would have got. I'm trying to think. Oh, the second line of the Black National Anthem. That was one that they asked in there.
No, I only know
I would have got that wrong because I'm like, don't nobody know the second verse.
No,
of the Black National Anthem. Don't nobody know that.
But Allison knew though.
She did. She sang the whole thing. That wasn't just the second verse. Like she went in on the whole thing. But yeah, I was like, I can hum it.
Exactly. I know the, I know the tune and all.
Yeah, I know the tune. We used to sing it
know the lyrics.
at church. Like before we left church. Yeah. Like everybody would stand around and we'd hold hands and they would sing that song and I'd be like, na 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 na. Yeah. Didn't know it then either. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some of the tropes. We kind of touched on some of them already for not for black films, for horror films where you're like, if black people were in this, what would they do? So like, did they check all the boxes? Okay, so first we got, if you see a scary, like a door that looks like, it's open, there's a noise coming out of it. Do you open and go in the door?
No, that's what I was saying. I was tripping because every time that green door was locked or there was something weird, they were like, no, let's just keep on going. I was like, we don't do that. No, that's not something we do.
Well, absolutely. Dwayne did try to he did do the lean back and close it though. So that was
Dwayne was the blackest one in there, and it makes sense now because he came up with the movie. He was ready to go. He was just calling things left and right, so that makes absolute sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. What's another one that they did in there? let's see.
When
Well,
they-
okay, so go ahead.
when
Dave.
they split up.
Split up. Yep. When they split up. When they
Mm.
split up. But black people really split up if they in a cabin?
I don't think we split up.
I don't know. Like, I feel like, well,
Okay, you know what?
If the situation goes down, we run.
But we all
Yeah.
run in the same direction, right?
True.
True. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if I see somebody running, I'm gonna run too. So I guess that would be a group thing.
It's a group thing. I remember seeing that thing on YouTube where the dude was just running randomly across his campus, and then people were just like running, and they had no idea what was going on.
That's the old Cedric the Entertainer joke from Kings of Comedy. He's like, if I see somebody running, I'm gonna run too. And once we done running, we'll find out what we're about.
Okay, next one. Do we pick up a weapon, and what kind of weapon do you pick up?
I would pick up, the first thing I would try to pick up is like something heavy and blunt. That's me. Because I feel like with a knife, like I feel like I could also get hurt with the knife. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm nervous, my palms are sweaty, but like, you know, I would pick up a bat. If there was a bat around, that's the first thing I would pick up, because like there's also some distance from you and whoever it is. I've thought about this.
Yeah, like I can't pick up anything like a brick or like a rock because I have terrible aim. So that won't work.
Nobody will pick up seasoning?
No. And to be fair, she only picked up seasoning at the end because that's all they had left. And I was like, there are no forks. Like, we got nothing else in the kitchen.
Yep.
She was like, no, we got this Lowry seasoning. It did come in handy though.
Yeah, it did. Okay. Do we call the police or the fire department?
That was really smart. Because I didn't even think about that, but that was really, really smart. And now if I'm ever in a situation like that, I'm gonna call the the fire department before I call the police. Yes, that was smart. Because you're black, right? And so like, and you got murdered white people on the premises. Because none of the black bodies are on the premises, if you think about that, because they all were down in the well, right? He dropped them down in the well. So you had a murdered white ranger and two people who lived in that small town, and you're outsiders.
Yeah.
I am so triggered by so many stories of black people being killed by cops from just like 911 dispatch calls.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I will have to call the fire department. I'll call animal control. I will call
anybody else. Yeah.
But the police department, because you guys just don't know how to deal with situations with black people. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, the water though, spraying them off the scene, that was a little tough though. That
was weird. I guess it was supposed to be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was just like, dang, like really? Like, can't you get respect from the from the fire department? I was like, there's no smoke, absolutely no reason to have done that. But
water hose. All right. So I don't know who you call. Maybe we'd be like Jamie. Go down the list. You can just try different people as long as it's not the police, I guess.
I would probably call an Uber. And
there you go. Uber. There you go.
And now call an Uber and actually go into the police department, because if you're in the police department, you're less likely to get shot up right there when you walk in versus if they, you know what I'm saying, a lot more witnesses. Yeah. But also, can we just talk about, let's do some research on the town that we're renting the cabin in the woods in before we rent the cabin in the woods? Yeah. Can we do that? I need to see that black people have stayed there, or people of color have stayed there and have left reviews. And like, I just feel like anytime you're in from all the horror movies I've seen, I don't ever want to get stuck in a rural town. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it just makes me nervous immediately. They don't even have to be racist. I'm immediately thinking they're probably killers for some weird cult. I'm sorry. That's me generalizing, but the movies have not helped. So I would need to but to be fair, the cabin was really nice. It was nice. It was a nice little cabin and everything, but they had like stuff in the cabin. For them to be racist, they had a lot of cultural things in the cabin. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Even though the two guys who owned it, the family who owned it, they had the two twin sons who were the racist guys. But the cabin had like decorations from like India and all this kind of stuff, like all these random things. Like if you had walked in there, you never would have thought like this is owned by racist people. I'm probably the only person who picked up on that.
Maybe that was the whole point, was to lure in these people of color and Black folks to.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
The idea was, you know, always, because I feel like this group of people weren't the first victims of these traps that these white supremacists were setting up.
You're probably right.
Before. Yeah.
Because he only paid them $1,000 to do that, which was super cheap. When I mean, like, I don't know. I've never like paid anybody to kill anybody, but it was like,
it was like, guess, you know,
it was just a guess. I was just like $1,000. That's it. Yeah. You know, to kill like 8 people and then get rid of their bodies and everything. That's wild. But.
I'll just show. I couldn't find like the full thing when they like knocked about everything, but this was like the little scary image that kept popping up.
That was a jump scare for me when you popped that up on the screen. I was like,
like I was like, whoop. So yeah, the blackface. This they call it a blackface. I guess creepy killer is what I kept seeing on Google. So that was like the main killer. Like basically the two white guys are supposed to be twins that were terrorizing people. You know, because Clifton decided he wanted to pay some people to terrorize the other Black people in the house.
I need because he was holding therapy.
Yeah, Clifton is gonna need to get some help. But
and he's not dead, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because I heard that little laugh down in the well.
Oh, I can't stand his laugh. I was like,
yeah. Yeah. So, but let's talk about this though. This is like, I was like, this has got to be a conversation for people as they watch this movie. Like, I feel like it's going to be like months to come. So the whole thing was the definition of being too Black. Are you Black enough? And they were using the idea of like playing the game of spades. You know, he didn't know how to play the game of spades. So is that like within the Black community, there's always things where they use the gauge whether you're Black enough. And that's like, I thought that was an interesting topic to bring up. Is that something that we, you know, encounter on a daily basis where, you know, you're in your friend groups, they're like, well, you should know that. You're Black, right? Like you should know how to, you should know how to do that. Or you should know how to fit in. And does that take you to that level? Now, Clifton was over the top, I feel like they don't take you to that level. But it does kind of, you know, get you in your feelings when people try to say, oh, well, why do you do that? But you're Black, or you should know how to do that. You know, or they think we should act a certain type of way. And I thought that was an interesting way of kind of bringing this topic up. You know, they're using comedy, they're using horror, but it was an interesting topic, you know, for the Black community. Like, if you don't know how to play spades, everybody judging you, or they side-eyeing you if you don't know how to do it.
I'm going to be first to say I don't know how to play spades, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know why we can't play. Like everybody knows how to play Uno, and there's 16,000 rules for that. So we need to just, you know, play Uno if we don't know how to play spades. Like the hate for not knowing how to play spades needs to stop. It just needs to stop. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty intense.
It's intense though. Do you know what I mean? Like people like, and I'm just gonna say this: the Black community is so bad about this. We really need to stop pulling other Black people's cards and saying they're not Black enough. Like I've never really understood that, and it's always upset me.
That does that.
Yeah, like we need to, especially because it's like an idea of our proximity to whiteness, and like that's already messed up, right? So I got that a lot growing up. Like you talk like a white girl. I get that from Black people in my family. I get that from Black people outside. And it's just like, I talk like I talk. I'm not putting on any airs. Like this is just how I speak. And I think what poor Clifton didn't take away from that is like, maybe those aren't your people. Like not all. And I think that's something that we as a community need to talk about, that it's really sad, but it's just, it's the reality of it. Just because we come from the same community, just because we're both Black does not mean that like that person is down for the cause. And we've seen that many times. I mean, you have that within family dynamics. So, I mean, I feel bad. Clifton got the bad end of the stick, but that is a real thing that people still deal with today. And I remember, this is like a super random story, but when I lived in South Korea, there was this Black girl that I worked with. She was mixed. Her dad was Black and her mother was white. And we were all talking about like dating, right? And she only dated Asian men. So I was like, well, why don't you date white guys or Black guys? Because, and she was like, well, I'm just really not that into, white guys. I'm just really not attracted to that. And Black guys kind of scare me. And I got so angry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, I'm sorry. Like, and before I flipped, I was like, did something happen with you and a Black man in your past that makes you say that? And she was like, no, I've just heard from my friends. And I was like, okay. So you've only heard bad things about Black men in relationships, and you've never heard bad things about other men in relationships. First of all, I'm calling BS on that. And then second, your dad is a Black man. And for you to sit there and say that so casually and to perceive yourself as Black is a problem, right? Like, you're now echoing something that's not true based on someone else's reality. So I asked her, I was like, were any of those friends Black women that had these relationships with Black men? And she was like, no. And I was like, and there's another problem.
Right.
You know? But that's something that happens in our community. She felt that she wasn't included in the Black community. So she herself took it upon herself to exclude herself from the Black community from a couple of instances that she had. And then that turned into, I don't date Black men because they scare me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, not that one thing, but things leading up to that, because she felt excluded. So therefore she wasn't really around a lot of Black men to understand. And just to clarify, there are bad people of every color and in every community. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it just hurt me to be having this conversation with the only other person I considered Black at the job that I was working with, because other than her, it was just me. And for her to say that, and this was during the time that like the George Floyd incident just happened and like all of that stuff was coming out. And I was like, for you as a Black person to say that Black men scare you, it just blew my mind, But then I understand like where some of that comes from. Like, if you've not been around Black people because you felt excluded by Black people, then you're going to believe whatever you hear from people who do interact with them, And a part of that is just like blatant ignorance on your part, But another part is people do listen to their friends. People do listen to other things. People listen to the media about Black people before they will listen to Black people about Black people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we make these movies like The Blackening. We make movies like Roots. We make movies like The Harder They Fall, which is an incredible movie. Love that movie. We need to make a video game. Like, I need a Black Western video game. But the people who should be watching these movies and learning about us, learning the ins and outs of us, the comedic timing, the way we deal with our stress, and the way that we communicate with each other. The people who need to be watching that are not watching it. Yeah. And that's part of the problem. So I'm sorry, I got on a soapbox, but it was just like, that whole thing is a very real thing, and I still get it today. Like, why do you talk like that? Why do I talk like what?
Exactly. Yeah. There's
So
no template for how we're supposed to act and how we're supposed to talk. So I think that was important that this movie brings out something like that. Because, maybe people that don't watch any other genre and they in horror pay attention to what the message was. Even though we're having a good time and we're laughing, it's important that you don't feel excluded just because somebody thinks you're supposed to act a certain way.
Right. So I thought that was really great that they picked up on that. And then the fact that like, and I was telling my friend Erica about it. I was like, I love the fact that they really, like, if you're not Black, you might not pick up on this, but we will make something comedic or turn something comedic out of our trauma. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, and that's a post-traumatic, like that's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically a reaction to trauma, right? And Black people are very good at
like some kind of coping mechanism or something.
Like a coping mechanism. The fact that they all stood out there, two of their friends are dead. They know two of their friends are dead. They just murdered another person. There are two dead bodies out there, and they're cracking jokes at the end of the movie. And I was like, that's so relatable, because I really feel like that's what would happen. Like, I feel like somebody would crack a joke to ease the tension, because Black people have been through so much that that's what they do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just thought that was a very nuanced thing, that throughout the whole movie, they were still kind of making jokes, even though they were scared for their lives. And I was like, we really do that. Like, and it's I don't know if all Black communities do that, but in the US, we definitely do that, because we are constantly under stress. We are constantly like afraid for our lives, and people don't realize that. Like, if a cop is driving behind you, like, as a Black man, just from the Black men that I know, it is nerve-wracking. It is very, very nerve-wracking, because you never know, you know? And so I think the fact that they brought that up in a very like not in your face way was really important, because it is how we deal with a lot of our trauma. We joke about it. We make jokes about it. Even in Get Out, his friend was constantly making jokes about the situation, and the situation was serious, but that's how we deal with a lot of things that happen to us. So yeah, I'm sorry, I've been talking too much, but I just
no, it's fine. It's totally fine. That's why I wanted to open up the question. Jamie, what do you want to add to it?
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of what you said reminds me of when I first started Black Girl Nerds. I mean, it was back in February of 2012, and it was actually kind of a bit of a different time, because we would talk a lot about those topics. I don't know if the article is still on the site. It's been quite some time, but Candace Frederick, who now writes for these really big publications, she wrote this article called "My Black is Not Your Black, and That's Okay." And it went viral for us in the early years of BGN, because it resonated with a lot of readers, because she talked about how she was on this date with this guy, and how he was clowning her because she liked to listen to Lenny Kravitz instead of listening to like hip hop artists. And so like there were just different things in her spectrum of what she liked as a Black woman, and, you know, in her framework versus what he liked. And I mean, even in the early years of Black Girl Nerds, you know, there were people that would email me and, you know, even talk to me at Comic-Con and different conventions and say, you know, thank you for creating this space, because like, here I am, I'm a Black cosplayer, and I don't really see that many cosplayers that look like me. Thank God now, like the space for us is so normalized with Black folks. I mean, you've got like DreamCon that's coming up soon, that we are now like so a part of these different spaces. It's amazing. Like, here you are, you're a gamer, and like the gaming spacing, like Black Girls Gaming, like that's an organization. So we don't have to worry about feeling like we're the only ones. But back in the early years, I would hear those conversations. I'm into gaming, I'm into live action role playing, I'm into cosplay, I'm a skater. And because I'm into these different fandoms and different hobbies, I'm viewed as white by my Black peers because I'm into these fandoms, only because it's predominantly, I guess, with white people in them. And why does that have to be the case? And it's so frustrating to me, because we are the only community of people that pit against each other when it comes to these types of issues. You don't hear about other, you know, racial communities otherizing each other in this way. It's only us. And it makes me feel like it could be like a victim thing. Like, I don't want to make it seem like, you know, we're creating enemies out of ourselves, but I feel like we're all victims in it, because, you know, back in the early years of like slavery time, like white supremacists and these white slavery owners literally would separate us and pit us.
Absolutely. That is I'm so glad that you brought that up. That is absolutely why it still happens today. Do you know what I'm saying? You had house slaves, you had field slaves, you had overseers. Yeah, that is exactly why
and
it's still happening today.
Would come into play. And it's like, and it continued throughout. It continued throughout, like in the 30s and 40s and 50s. And, you know, colorism was a thing, and Black people to pass off as white so they could gain the privilege and the benefits of white privilege rather. So
Yep.
I feel like that still resonates, unfortunately, those little bits of history and white supremacist I don't know if I'm phrasing it right, but the way white people kind of instilled uh, that separation of us, it still kind of resonates because we
Yeah.
still sort of pit against each other when it comes to
Oh,
those things. I feel like
absolutely.
though, I feel like my last point is it's getting better because even it's now been 11 years since creating Black Girl Nerds. It's like the whole scope and the whole landscape has changed. Like seeing so many of us in these different spaces and seeing us like come together and support each other in so many different ways. So I don't see many of us kind of clowning each other in that way anymore. I mean, we talk about the spades conversation, and I feel like spades is such like a boomer thing. So maybe some of the old folks probably do that, but the millennials and the Gen Z people, they're not
Yeah.
really clowning people in that way for not knowing how to play spades.
oh
But
yeah, definitely
yeah,
agree with you.
so I think we've progressed a little bit now,
Mhm.
but yeah, it definitely 11 years ago it was a thing, and I'm just glad to see the progress over the years, and hopefully that progress continues because I would love to see a day where we as Black folks just focus on supporting each other because we're the victims. We're the ones that have been, just perpetrated against and being victimized by all different types of abuse. And it would be nice if we as a people can just lift each other up and not have this sort of divide and kind of conquer strategy and crabs in the bucket mentality when it comes to success and all of these other things that could
Absolutely.
be a conversation for another day. But yeah.
Yeah. But no, I totally agree with you. I think Issa said it best when she was talking about instead of reaching up, we reach across. And I think that is such
Yes.
an incredible way to put
Yeah.
it. Because if one of us wins, we all win. If one of us takes a step forward,
Hello.
we're always taking,
Yep.
like it's for all of us. So like what you guys are doing here, it's incredible, but it's opened up so many doors for other people. And so like I just hope that I have the same hopes that you have, and I hope that it's able to reach like other communities that don't have the access that like we have, and have the communities that we have. I feel like over the last 11 years, more people have come forward because social media has made it possible for us to see other Black people enjoying the same things that we enjoy. So
Yep.
it's definitely grown. And I think that's incredible because, like you said, way back in the day, like if you were the nerd or whatever who liked anime in school, it was very hard to find other people because nobody was really talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't like something you were ashamed of. You just weren't talking about it. It just wasn't a thing you talked
Yeah.
about.
Yep.
But now you're doing it. And I think the only thing that makes me sad about the Blackening is that like they really did go in hard on the Black nerd, because I know that's what Clifton was really supposed to be. He was supposed to be that Black nerd.
That's interesting.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and they did go in hard on him. They made him feel like he wasn't good enough, and we still continue to do that today, even though like it's changing and that like the landscape is changing. There's still that bit of like animosity towards like people who are getting a higher education and people who are into things that are like considered non-Black. But it's like, we're in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many
Yeah.
different things to be, like expand your horizons. And so I do wish they probably would have treated Clifton a little better, just because he didn't know how to play spades. You know what I mean? I mean, he was
Yeah.
an annoying character. His voice would have just irritated me. I would have been like, Clifton, come on. But
Yeah.
I think like that idea that and even the way he spoke, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like set him
Mhm.
apart from the way that they were all speaking. And I think that was on purpose. And I get that he was supposed to be like, that was supposed to be part of the joke, but that's also something we need to get past, is like, not making that person the joke, because they even did that in Dear White People at first with the guy who played Everybody Hates Chris. Like his character at first was kind of like nobody really wanted to like vibe with him. And so I feel like that's a trope we need to leave in the 80s, that nerds are not cool and geeks are not cool. Like we're not doing that anymore. So I hope like if they make a new one, that's a part of why I was hoping that his character would flip, and it wouldn't just be because I was a nerd and like I grew up around a lot of white people, so like I didn't get a lot of the culture things. And that's basically what Clifton was. He was that person. If you were that person out there, that is what Clifton was, and it wasn't his fault. Do you know what I'm saying? And so like his story was actually really tragic. It was the first time he had ever drank in his life, so he got very drunk. And then he drove and he killed a woman. He hit a woman and killed her and then went to jail. And the reason why he had so much bitterness is because he was watching all of their lives be successful. And then like it all stemmed from not being accepted. And then when he thought they might have changed, even though they were still being kind of like crappy to him. I'm trying to make sure I don't curse because it's just like in my normal vocabulary. They were being crappy to him. He still thought he thought for a moment they had changed. And he says that at the end.
Yeah.
So like, it was all funny. Like the movie was funny, but his story was actually really tragic. It was really sad. And for any Black nerd who's out there, for anybody who's been told like they're whitewashed or they're an Oreo, that was Clifton. And so a part of me was like really sad about his story. Like I walked out of that and I was like, damn, that really sucks that it had to be that way when they could have just accepted him and they didn't. And then it turned into this huge thing where even till the end, he felt excluded. And to prove his point, he was like, I'm going to murder you guys, you know? And I was just like, it was, I'm sorry, I took it to a deep level. It's supposed to be a comedy.
No,
but like,
I like that.
No.
I like the
I mean, I mean, I think they presented him where you could go either way. Like you can end this and be pissed, like, what is this dude doing? He's taking people out with like arrows and stuff. Like, come on, bro. But at the same time, you know, his story is, you know, why can't we accept the people that we think are on the outside are different from us?
Right.
You know, and I also want to add to his story as well, too, the fact that, you know, try to find some way to be comfortable with who you are. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to, you know, like I know he was going through his whole, like, he can't play space. He feels like the nerd. He's not fitting in. You're on the outside. But I know that's another thing in the Black community with therapy and reaching out for help. You know, if you do feel excluded and, you know, on the outside, just trying to be comfortable with yourself.
Need some therapy.
And then you blow the horn like, look, you need to accept me for who I am. I'm accepting you for being this cool jock or whatever you want to be. So you need to accept me for, you know, whoever I am in this friend group. So yeah, I mean, I think it was great. You know, shout out to Tim Story, the director. I think it was so great. All the creative team behind this, that they gave us so many different avenues that we could fly with these characters and come up with our own narrative and then go back and talk about it.
They absolutely did. Yeah. This feels like a very Black Panther moment for me, because I remember just having like deep discussions with like my white counterparts about it. I don't know what to say when I say that. I feel like that's politically correct. With my white friends about it and just saying like there may be, but you know what was weird about that? Anytime I had a conversation with like one of my white male friends, they would always get really upset when I said, yeah, there's things you probably wouldn't pick up in Black Panther. And it was just weird for me that they would get upset about it, because I was like, this was a love letter to Black Americans, more so than it was to, you know, those in Africa. Like this was our story. This is a continuation of the story that is happening right now. And I was like, there are certain things that you probably wouldn't have picked up because you went into this to see an action film. Do you know what I'm saying? To see a Marvel film. We went into it to see that, but also we picked up on everything that Coogler was trying to say. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it is a very lived experience. And it just blew my mind that when I was trying to have those conversations, they felt insulted, like I was insulting them, that they wouldn't have picked up on it. But I was like, they're like, are you saying we have to be Black to understand it? I'm saying, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. you had to be Black to understand and pick up on
Yeah.
some of the nuances in this movie because it came from a Black person's perspective,
Right.
you know, who's lived through these things. And I feel the same way about this movie. I think if like other races go and see this movie, I think there are certain nuances they won't pick up on, but like it's definitely something that we can sit and have a conversation about, because I do wonder how many people outside of the Black community know how dogged people who don't fit what is the stereotypical idea of being Black feel, how like ostracized they feel.
Yeah.
You know, because it is a real problem. You see people getting bullied for it. Bullying like really kind of shot up and was a serious thing. And you see it on social media all the time. People in people's comments clowning them and things like that. Like, and it just needs to stop, y'all. Like, I think the moral of the story, as I'm saying here, is like we need to just accept each other. There's too many beautiful things happening in the world for us to not have different things that we're into, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Let me do a quick shout out here. Team JVS is in the building. We have them on here a couple times for the review. They saying they cracked up about the movie. Yes, we definitely cracked up about this film. It had so many good pointers and everything, but y'all want to give those guys a shout out because they joining us in the chats. But yeah, I want to bring, like, as we kind of wrap it here and our last thoughts and everything. One thing that I thought was really cool, because we're talking about, you know, there is this this divide, so to speak, with the Clifton character, right? You know, in the Black community, how certain people are viewed, you know, whether you're cool or not, your interests. But what I thought was real interesting, especially like sitting here chatting with you ladies, there's this interconnection, this story that we understand with each other that nobody else gets just from a look. And I thought that was interesting that they put that in the film. They had the women looking at each other like in the back seat, and they were kind of communicating without saying anything. You know, the guys kind of got themselves jacked up at the end because, you know, see, guys is always just let the women handle it and do it right. They always just messing it up. Like they messed it up at the end. But, you know, I just love that moment that they showed where it's like, I could look at Jamie, I could look at Des, and they could tell by like the reaction on my face, like what I'm thinking, that other cultures are just probably walk right past me. They have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, that's absolutely true. Like it's also the thing with the head nod. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but it's like there's a difference between nodding up and nodding down. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like there's so many things within our culture that we do that just comes second nature that we don't even think about it. So like as soon as they were talking, I was like, absolutely. Because I do that with my girl all the time. You see some crazy ish happening and you look at your girl and y'all are basically like, yeah, it's time to go. You know what I mean? Like, so I thought that was really cute.
Yeah, that unspoken language is real cool. But yeah, I love that part. But yeah, this film was just in total it was great. You guys, if you haven't seen it, go take your entire family, go watch it. It's gonna be a lot of laughs. I saw some little kids. I didn't know if they should be in there, but I saw some little kids in the theater I was in. Like the people was legit bringing out like their whole family having a good time laughing. So hey,
I can't even say
love bringing kids to the theater though.
Yeah. My dad let me watch Friday when I was like 11. And that's definitely not a kid movie. But my dad, I was raised by a single father, so I probably watched a lot of things that most mothers would not have been okay with letting their kids.
Look, I was raised by a single mom, and I watched Hellraiser when I was 10 years old.
Oh my god! My dad didn't let me watch
her movie to watch, but she allowed it.
That's
I came out okay, so I think
I cried at RoboCop. Okay, I was like 4 or 5. And my dad was like, don't take her to go see RoboCop. Because my cousin who was 14 was like, yeah, I want to take her. He's like, she's going to be scared. And I was like, no, Daddy, I'm not going to be scared. I had nightmares for like days.
Yeah, I feel like as long as you explain it, that's cool though, right? Like it's fine. Like as long as it's not like, you know, the kids like lock themselves in a room because they like terrified of what they saw, you know.
No.
I don't think that's
he just had to deal with me crying in the middle of the night. He knew he was gonna have to do that. So
all right, guys. Anything you guys want to wrap up with as we kind of do? Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie. Did you have anything you want to add to it?
Oh no, I was just saying, like I just thought about it, like seeing a movie like that at 10 years old. That's probably why I don't get that scared watching scary movies.
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
desensitized. Yeah,
But
I
at
can't
the
watch it.
same time, I haven't. Now people will probably challenge me and be like, "Well, you haven't seen this movie," but
Oh yeah, they about to go in. Yep.
yeah. But if it's a dull movie though, I probably those I get kind of scared of.
Event Horizon messed me up, and I think that's the last horror movie that I saw.
That was a good movie. Gosh, that was years ago when I saw it though.
Yeah, it's old now, but I was like, because I think the guy from Jurassic Park is in it. The guy,
Sam Neill.
yeah.
Sam
So I didn't
Neill.
think it was going to be scary because I saw him in Jurassic Park.
But you're in Jurassic Park, dude. What are you doing?
I was like, he saved the kids. This ain't gonna be scary. No.
Y'all better than me. I stop at Scream and I'm good. I'm a rap. Y'all better than me.
Like the was not scary.
Scream wasn't scary. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm a big scary person. That's as far as I'm going. Like I ain't doing none of the. I ain't doing the Paranormal Activity. I ain't doing like what is it like the what's it? Is it Evil Dead or whatever? That's what's the one?
I don't like
the mom
zombies.
Is like dead and she comes back.
Ooh, that was nasty. I don't like anything where people look nasty and like mutated. Like I can't do zombies. I have no irrational fear of zombies. I cannot do them. But like, and I can't do anything that deals with. Even though I'm not super religious, I can't deal with anything that deals with like too many demons. It seems too realistic. You don't mess with that. Yeah. And I don't know if I feel like that's a really Black cultural thing because like I remember my grandma and my mom saying, "Yeah, we don't play with the spirits. We don't watch stuff like that."
Yeah, we don't. There's a movie that I have not seen because my mom refuses. Like growing up, she refused to allow me to see it, and that's this movie called The Entity.
I think I've heard of that.
Barbara Hershey is in it, so it's based on a true story. It's about this woman that was sexually assaulted by ghosts. So my mom's like, "We're not seeing that movie. That is not going to be allowed in this household because apparently it was based on a true story. Like this woman was actually."
That's wild. That oh my god, what was that show that the chick who plays Mrs. Pettigrew's odd children or weird children? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Eva Green.
Yes, she was in some series. It's not Pennywise. What was it?
Oh yes. Oh gosh, we used to live tweet that show back in the day. I know what you're talking about. Why can't I remember it? I know what you're talking about.
The moment that she is having relations in the bed with what I guess it was the devil or a demon or whatever, that's where I stopped watching the show. I didn't even finish that episode. I was like, I couldn't do it. It was a wrap for me. I was like, some shit's gonna happen to me. I can't be like putting this. I can't.
Dreadful. Penny Dreadful. That was
okay.
Series, yeah. Dim Dreads on Twitter. We used to tweet that show. Hashtag Dim Dreads.
Oh man, I'm gonna stay with all that. I'm good. I just scare myself enough on my own, so I'm just cut that out.
I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. It's like having bills all the time.
What I loved about I know we're kind of going off track, but what I did love about Penny Dreadful was just the aesthetic of the show. Just costumes, the period pieces, the cinematography was really great, and Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, I loved I loved the show. I just it freaked me out so bad in that scene. I just couldn't finish it. And I don't know how far that was. I mean, like, cause I was binging it. So it was a few episodes in, but then like, I was like, and I was just like, oh, this is a lot. That happened to me with Handmaid's Tale too. I didn't realize. So I was binging Handmaid's Tale. And then there was a point where I just was like, oh, I can see this really happening in the US. I can see it getting this bad. I don't want to watch it. I couldn't. As soon as they were like, women aren't people anymore and can't work, and you can't have your own bank account, I would have been out. Like,
it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
And to bring it back around, as soon as I would have saw the Blackening game, I would have been out. Like, I would not have picked up the. Everything would have been, I was like, oh no, we need to cancel this. We're moving it to the Holiday Inn or whatever is close to us. We're not having the party here.
Now, to be fair, Morgan did try to do the sage. She did try to put the sage on the door and walk away. And he's like, no, come here. I got Shauna's like, I got to show you this though. I got to show you this. She did try to walk away. Like,
her husband, he was stripping. He was
Yeah, she did try to back up. She was like, I need to go. I need to not be in this room. And then he was like, oh, but I gotta show you this though.
I mean, after watching this, I don't even want to go to a cabin with friends in the woods.
Thank
because
you.
I saw this movie, and then I saw Deon Taylor's film Fear. I don't know if you guys seen that, but that's also a film about a group of friends in a cabin in the middle of the woods, and strange things happen. So I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to go to any trips where it involves a cabin in the middle of nowhere where you have like no internet, no Wi-Fi signal practically. I ain't doing it. Sorry. Y'all have fun.
I feel the same way. The only way I would do it was like in Gatlinburg, but that's because there was a lot of cabins and you can be close to like the city and everything, and it's a touristy thing. But even then, I need to like check out the reviews and like see how many people have stayed there, because people are crazy.
Yep, that's the moral of the story.
I just need internet access. I need to know that I have 4 bars on my phone if I need to call for help. You know, I'm able to use my laptop. I'm sorry, I just I can't.
I get you.
In the mountains stuff. No.
Don't be isolated.
It's like they were asking for it to happen too.
Yeah,
I loved it because they were like, "Why are we in a cabin in the woods?" Scary anyway. I was like,
yeah. They like, ain't she rich? Why we in this cabin?
Yeah, why are we in this cabin? Why can't we go to a resort? I was like, that do make some sense.
Oh, okay. Let me ask the question though, because we on Morgan for a little bit though. I was gonna ask this, so let's see. Do we think Morgan is she in the bottom of the well? Like, do you think Morgan is actually dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think she's actually dead. I think when they were watching the video, I think that was her body. Nope. It was his body. It had to have been his body. Or it could have been her body when they were all running around and they thought he was dead. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to like figure out the timeline of when he would have disposed of it.
This is the same thing I was thinking, because I was trying to figure it out if they were trying to drop hints or something. Like, I was trying to figure it out too. I was like, did everything line up, with her? Because obviously we know Sean was a dead, like we know he out. But I was like, her, like the way it lined up, I was curious if everybody thought she was dead. And then I thought maybe I saw a flash on like that little weird TV at one point. But it could have been them just like showing something before or something like that. I don't know.
Well, they did show him like dumping a body. But now that I'm thinking about it, it had to have been when he was dumping the husband's body, because he was all wrapped up in plastic and everything. Yeah. So I don't know if he just dropped her body off in the well or whatever. But I do think she's dead. Like, I think she's dead. When her wig came off, though.
That was great. I was like, yes. That was great. That
was hilarious.
She said that was a good weave too, or that was a good wig too. I was like, oh my God. That was the point of them like just making jokes about trauma. Like, who says stuff like that? Like, she's about to be murdered, and we're like, girl, that's a good lace front though. You see where she had that laid? But yeah, it was funny.
They're like, fight. Yeah, I like them yelling at the TV screen and everything like that. But yeah, it was so many good things in this film. And I think I just love the way Black creatives and directors are mixing it up in this genre. I think that is so cool, the way they're turning this around and making it different. For scaredy cats like me, I want to go out and watch the film because of something different, that's bringing me into the horror genre that I want to see, something new and fresh. So yeah, guys, I mean, go check it out. We're going to keep trying to cover as many as we can. We're going to watch out for this inflation, but, we're going to try to make some movies and cover everything and report on it. But yeah, guys, any last thoughts? It's been a pleasure talking with you guys. It's been fun. Anybody got any last thoughts to wrap everything up?
Thank you for having me on. Like, this was a lot of fun, just like talking about it and giving our different viewpoints. Like, please let me know the next time you guys want to see a movie. I don't go to the movies that often, but I will make sure I go, because this was great. This was a lot of fun. Yeah. So thank you for giving me the chance to come on and like give my point of view. And the last thing I want to say is, in Get Out, when he pulled up and he saw that all the help was Black. Yeah. I would have dropped her ass off immediately. Yep. And would have came to pick her up at the end of the weekend, like after her family. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
pure facts.
Trust your gut. Okay. Because I feel like every time a Black person is in a horror movie, their gut, and they say something like, this don't feel right every single time. And they don't follow their gut. Follow your gut. That's all I'm going to say. If the situation don't seem right, get out.
Yep. If you don't follow your gut, that's the main thing. That's a life lesson right there. Follow your gut, follow your instinct. Something ain't right. Get up out of there. Go.
That's what they're there for. They're there to protect you. So you got to follow those instincts. Absolutely. I mean, I agree with what you said, Ryan, earlier about, diversity and seeing something different and refreshing. And like my final thoughts about this is that I just would love to see more of the horror genre in a diverse way coming from Black creatives. So like more horror comedies coming out from Black filmmakers, but then also horror movies like Get Out that we saw from Jordan Peele coming from Black filmmakers. And we're seeing that. Like we haven't talked about it, but Bomani J. Story's The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. That was a great horror film.
You've seen it? I haven't seen it.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I'm scared because he's basically a zombie thing, and I can't.
Yeah. If you're into Frankenstein, or if you're not into Frankenstein, it might not be for you, and it is kind of bloody and gory at times.
Yeah, I saw previews. I told my dad he should watch it because my dad loves horror movies, and he's like, "What's it about?" And I was like, "This girl," and she like brings back her brother, and he's like all messed up because it's not like her brother anymore. Like it's like this twisted form of her brother. Yeah, I was like, but that was a really nice play on it. Even though this let me stop. We'll be here for another 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
No, but I would love to see just us in this genre because we talked about this again, Ryan, on that podcast. Back in the day, a lot of Black horror movies. First of all, there wasn't that many, and they weren't that good. So I really enjoyed The Blackening. I thought it was really good. The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster was good, and then of course we all know Get Out was amazing. I mean, it's an Oscar-winning film. And a lot of the stuff that Jordan Peele is coming out with has just been spectacular. So I just want to see more of this genre created by us because we're killing it right now. And the horror genre is a great space for Black creatives because it's something that I feel like we are really hungry for as fans of this genre. So I'm here for it, and I hope to see more of it. And Dwayne Perkins, like, bruh, you did good. Like, go for it. Do another one if you want.
I think they set it up for it. If they wanted to make a sequel, they set it up that way because dude was laughing in the well. So
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, they had that post-credit scene and all of that. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the horror movies have sequels, especially horror comedies. So it wouldn't shock me if we see a sequel sometime in the next couple of years or even next year. So yeah.
Ooh, I like it. I'm excited. I hope so. I like what we're doing to mix it up. Keep them thinking, guys.
Keep them on the toes.
Keep them thinking. Yeah, keep them guessing. They can't figure us out. Uh-oh. All right, Des, Jamie, thank you guys so much. We're going to wrap it up, you guys. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you for everybody that joined, put a comments in. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Des, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at DMBC32 while it's still alive. And and then, whenever it fails, we'll see where else I'll be. But definitely hit up at DMBC32 on Twitter. Please hit up Dames for Games. Please follow. If you guys are into games, if you want to just see women uplifting women in the gaming space, like we are doing so many things, please be an ally. Like it's not just about women. It's about all of us working together to kind of showcase what women have done. Because we've done a lot, y'all. We've done a lot. We don't talk about it, but we need to talk about it. So please hit up Dames for Games. Hit me up on Twitter and everywhere else. If you find me anywhere else, I'm just being dumb and it's shenanigans. So if you want like
Dames for Games, is that on Twitch?
It is, but we just made that channel, so there's nothing on there. So, but you can. It's basically Dames for Games everywhere. So Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Since we just had our first show, but we're working to get our second one done, and so we'll be posting a lot more on our social media and things like that. So, And Black
like
Voices in Gaming. Make sure you check out Black Voices in Gaming, guys.
Check it out. Check it out.
Please check it out, especially if you're a gamer. And I think we're expanding a little bit to have like other people come in and talk, like a Taco Noir, which is I'm sure you guys know about a Taco Noir. If you don't know, they are a blurred box subscription box where they're just taking things from like,
this.
From Black creatives. And they basically came up with the idea during COVID where they wanted to give you basically a comic con or convention experience in a box, but from Black creatives. So that was really, really cool. So we are partnering with them to do a gaming theme box. So definitely check them out.
That'd be cool. There you guys go. All right, guys. Well, good night. Go check out the Blackening and, have a good time. So we'll see you guys. Bye.
Happy 4th of July.